Welcome, everyone, to episode 4 of the Health and Wealth podcast. I'm Steve Giordano. I am very, very excited today to have my main man, my good friend, Tierre Browne. Let's give him a round of applause. Tierre, a consistent $30K a month producer, all while building a team. Been with FFL now a little over a year, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
What month was it?
I started August of last year.
August of last year. I remember it. It's funny. I never know the months of anything because they all like blend. But I remember walking into a house and getting a call from you, and then talking to you like after the appointment. And it was an omen because I sold it. So that was a good omen that you were going to be good, right? So let's start here. Walk us through a little bit, a little bit of your personal journey, a little bit of your, your business, and what kind of brought you to FFL a year ago.
Yeah, so I guess starting off a year ago, I was in the government contracting space for the last 14 or 15 years of my life. Definitely comfortable, W-2 salaried employee for the last 15 years. Around the middle of the summer last year, I was given basically an ultimatum, kind of. I had to either move back to D.C. or decide on what I was going to do down here in South Florida. So I kind of just drifted off and said I was going to, start my own business and do this. Being very transparent, I started off when I got my license, I started off in the health space. I did that for a couple weeks. Realized that part A, part B, all of that was way too much information, and decided that I needed to look at something else, and kind of looked around at Family First Life as an option, and then kind of went from there. But I saw it as a great opportunity to first be a personal producer, but also to really, for the first time I guess in my life, own my own business and kind of see it as a business.
Yeah, I love that. And family, beautiful wife,
Yep.
2 kids,
Yep.
right? Both girls.
Both girls, yeah.
So the first question is, how do you manage that?
I think, in the beginning, it's definitely having that direct conversation with your spouse and the kids. Like I sat down a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old and said, you're not going to see me as much. You saw me for the last, 10 years of your life, every single day, doing everything, picking you up from school, taking you home, whatever it was, all the events. But for the next 2 years, I need to kind of, pour it all in as much as I can. I'll try to be here as much as I can on Sundays. I'll try to be here as much as I can at night. But if you don't see me for dinner, it's what it is. But it's so that we can have a better life kind of going forward. I think the first couple months, like any family, any new opportunity, was definitely difficult for the wife, for the kids, everybody. But then they started to kind of see the fruit of the labor, and it was pretty immediate, that they were like, okay, whatever you need, just go do it.
I love that. And what's really cool, yesterday you had texted me about, on Saturday you texted me and said, hey, I got 2 appointments on Sunday. Mm-hmm. So yesterday, I'm out and I see you at the volleyball game in Miami. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's a good dad right there. He has 2 appointments. He's providing for his kids, and he's out with them in the middle part of the day at an event. So I love the fact that you're able to balance that, because I think a lot of people think that they're not going to be able to balance. And look, there's imbalance a lot of times, mm-hmm. but you're able to now buy your time back, because if we talk about what you've been able to issue versus what you made in your biggest year in working in your previous life, this year you've been full time of the 9 months. What, about 6 or 7, right?
Yeah, probably about 7.
Okay, so about 7, and you've made about 200,000 issue paid. And what was your biggest year previously in income?
Like maybe 145.
So 145 in 12 months.
Right. Minus, 35% tax, everything. So, on average, I would bring home probably $7,000 a month.
Okay. Would you say you're more fulfilled in what you do now than what you did prior?
Yeah, I definitely, yeah. I like the fact that I'm able to help families directly. In government contracting, it was, multiple layers down before I saw the impact, and it was very small. But um, with this day to day, I just going out and being able to help a family protect a loved one or someone they just lost, and now they're thinking about how they're going to protect their kids. It's so immediate and it's so real.
Yeah, 100%. I think that emotional connection we have with clients and what we do and why it's so important, and death claims and all the things, and it's real. Um, it's very, very important what we do, obviously. And I think you're one that enjoys serving people. You're also someone that works extremely hard. And I think one of the biggest things you picked up early was the grind mentality, the mentality of what we're building, what we're doing. You talked about explaining it to your family. How was your wife like with it right away?
I mean, in the beginning, she was always like, you know, are you good enough to do this? Hell, I was honestly, even me, I didn't know if I was good enough to do it, but um, she was skeptical, like anybody would. We're investing money to buy leads, to go out and help families. What if you don't make it back? What if this? What if that? Um, I think it took a couple months for it to kind of settle in, for her, for me. And I think once I turned that turning point of having more confidence in the home, having more confidence of my schedule and the flow of it, and being able to figure out that true balance of time with them and time in the field and all of that, it kind of all clicked. But it took a couple months.
Yeah, as it does sometimes. They don't all always buy in right away,
Yeah.
but then they start seeing deposits, and you're happy, and you're doing what you're enjoying to do. So now you decided what month that you wanted to really build a business as opposed to just being a personal producer.
Yeah, it had to be definitely after convention. Around convention time this year, I guess February, is when I kind of really went all in, switched from part-time to full-time, thought about this, for a long-term commitment, thought about, how many other agents I could help, what position I needed to be in personally for personal production to be able to, have staff and be able to continue to reinvest in my business. And my mindset definitely switched from being a personal producer to I'm a business owner. How do I, make this explode?
Yeah, I love that. And now we're going to talk a little bit later about, kind of the road to integrity and what that meeting meant that we went to last week. So when you think about the process you went through learning in-home, I think in my conversations with you, you're very good in the house. Like your demeanor is very good, I think. And I also think the way you come across is very good. And you're literally just like, I'm here to help you. Mm-hmm. Walk me through how you kind of learned it, taught yourself, who you pulled from in trainings to kind of get you to have a pretty streamlined in-home that's not very complicated. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, someone I watched a lot was Matt Smith. But there's things that he did that really caught on, and there's things that I just don't do. Like I don't text, I don't leave voicemails, that sort of thing. But he's very direct and makes the clients kind of feel the impact of who's your beneficiary, why we're doing this, how we're protecting the equity, all different things. But when I'm in the home, I think it starts off with being on the phone. First off, on the phone, I say I'm just a field underwriter. I'm, just trying to figure out who qualifies, what you qualify for. So they don't see me as a salesperson. Most of the time when I'm in the house, they don't see me as a salesperson either. I've gotten up sometimes and packed my stuff like I'm walking out, and they're like, "Oh no, you're not going to press me for the sale." I'm like, "No, you have the information. If you want to make a decision, make it." And they're like, "Oh, sit back down." I'm like, "Okay, fine." And I start unpacking my bag again. But I think how you address people on the phone kind of carries into the house, and they're expecting A lot of times they're not expecting someone just to genuinely want to help them, to qualify them. And then I say things like, I just want to keep it something that you qualify for, keep it in your budget, make it something comfortable that's not going to stop you, Bob, from taking Mary out to dinner, that you can pay every single month. You're not going to worry about it, things like that, but still provide you the same amount of coverage that you need.
Yeah, I love that. And I also I want you to talk a little bit about how you get clients the child whole life. You try to insure the family. You've gotten multiple renewals from people, or referrals, I should say, and went back to clients, and you went back to neighborhoods. And talk a little bit about that. Like I know, for instance, you've talked about, hey, I didn't make a sale on the big policy, but I insured the kids. So you a lot of times walk out with something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think in every house you have an opportunity. So I think it was one of the homes that I had where I had a couple 60-year-olds that both had lupus. And just when we did everything with their medical background and everything, the only thing they could really qualify for was kind of way over their budget. But lupus is hereditary, so I saw kids walking around, and I saw grandkids, and I was like, just an easy pivot was more like, why don't we protect them now so that when they're your age, they don't have to ever worry about it. And they were like, well, how much is it? And we kind of went into it, and it was an easy transition. And they were like, man, we wish my parents would have done this. Like they would have been like, they were actually overjoyed. I then pivoted to them and say, look, if you have any other grandkids or brothers or sisters that have kids or grandkids, give them my card. Now I'm glad you put your information online. That's how you and I met. But let me protect your whole family. Let me not blow up their phone. Just give them my card and information. And then they just send me referral after referral after referral.
That's amazing because, it speaks to you being able to connect with people the way you do, and connect with them. Even if you can't help whomever, there's always someone in the family or in the tree that you can, there's always somebody out there you can help when it comes to insurance. There's no doubt about that. I remember distinctly when I think a light bulb went off for you, where you kind of put your foot down that you were going to be more assertive in the side of kind of just taking charge of this business. What is it for you that triggered where you're like, this is it, I'm going all in, I see this bigger picture, and I have to go bigger on personal production and team production?
Yeah, I mean, I think a couple of different things. So, like, in the home, I let clients dictate when they wanted to do something or not. And it kind of hit me when one of my could have been clients passed away, didn't have insurance. The family called me and said, because they had my business card, called me and said, hey, did he get a policy? And I was like, no, he didn't decide. He said he was going to call me back. Well, he passed away. So first off, in the home, I was like, okay, I can't let that happen again. I need to tell them, I need to come up with a way when I'm doing my in-home that is very direct, that says, why am I here and who's your beneficiary? I need to get that out like within a couple minutes, not when I'm all the way through the app. So that's one of the first things I do. I give my business card. I show my state license. I show my driver's license, which is always funny because like 2 years ago I was fat. So it was like, I was a little heavier. So they always ask a bunch of questions about that. And I said we could talk about it later. But then I say, why am I here and who's your beneficiary? Write their name down. And that just kind of sets the tone for like who we're doing this for. So that was one reason. But when I really saw this as a business, I said, wow, I could help a lot of families. I could help a ton of agents make way more money than they've ever made in their life, with doing boring work, really, which it is. It's kind of boring just dialing the phones, but then it's fun going out and helping families. That's when I really saw it. I said, wow, it all kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Now, you might be the king of no white space on your calendar. I've seen you've sent me screenshots. I've seen your calendar, and I'm like, man, I thought I had no white space. He has no white space. How do you manage it? Have you always been great at organizing your life or your schedule? How do you balance it? Because now, you have a lot of client interviews, lead calls, your appointments, talking with your recruiter. How do you kind of manage that all in your schedule?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be just very intentional with everything. I've been generally in government contracting, you kind of have to be pretty rigid and scheduled with everything. But now it's just, if it's on my calendar, I'm doing it. So if I have a white space, I generally fill it with some sort of activity, whether it be a door knock. If I'm in, Pompano Beach tomorrow and I have 4 other houses that I haven't been able to get a hold of, I'm going to put all of those 4 door knocks in that hour, just to knock them out. If I haven't got them on the phone, I'm going to go and door knock all of them. But just everything, flows into the calendar. So whatever's on there, I just do it. Like, it's not overthinking it or anything. You just go do it because it's there. Because if you actually look at the amount of leads you have in a week, and then you have all your appointments, there's leads that you're not getting to. And if you don't take an action on them or have some sort of activity on them, what do? Just go to the wayside or pile up. So I just schedule them and do it.
Yeah, that's a good thing you just brought up, because you are a champion door knocker. Hell, I've seen you door knock people that were just people and sold policies, which I could not do that in a million years. So I give you all the credit in the world for that. But I love the fact that when you go out, your day is full. It's active. You schedule the door knocks, and you do it, and you have success. If I had to guess, I'd probably guess you make 1 door knock sale a week, if not more.
Oh yeah, for sure. Usually I have at least 1 or 2 scheduled appointments from door knocks every week. That's just, activity week over week. Door knocks that I did 2 or 3 weeks ago, call me today saying, hey, we're available. Great. I'm going to be in the area. So it's just having that same activity over and over and over again. And people have different approaches with it. Some door knock to get into the home right then and there. I personally don't, because I think as quickly as they let you in, they could let you out. So I schedule it, make it intentional on their calendar as well as mine. But generally, I also schedule those on like Mondays or Thursdays after dial days. Only so if they do like no-show me on a field day, like on a Tuesday, it won't hurt my mojo. Like, it's just like, oh, okay, it's a dial day. I'm going to swing by and see if I can get this appointment. If I get it, great. If I don't, no big deal.
One of the things that I love about you as well is your adaptability. So, we got into the Zoom sales and the phone sales and all that stuff. And you literally, before we hopped on this podcast, he does a Zoom sale from an instant internet lead. Mm-hmm. And you'll probably go door knock somebody on the way home and might have do you have an appointment today?
I have an appointment at 7. And if I get time, I'll probably door knock 2 addresses up this way.
Yeah. So my point of all this, guys, is he's doing everything, every facet of the business. You're putting something into it, and guess what? You're not always going to see success on everything immediately, but you're going to see enough success over the time frame. And the same thing goes with hiring and interviews and all that good stuff. So here's a question. How do you keep your mind sharp when things don't go your way? If it's a chargeback, if it's a tough day, if it's whatever, how do you keep motivated and keep yourself going to kind of the next thing?
I think it's a tough one. I mean, being honest, it's a lot of self-talk. Chargebacks used to bother me a little bit in the beginning. I think sometimes they still kind of hurt a little bit. But just knowing that having a life insurance license allows us to like print money. You can, if you want to get more appointments, dial the phone more and you'll have more appointments. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's kind of, I just have to reflect on, my sales, look at, my projection of my next set of appointments, and know that, I just kind of keep going in a sense. It sounds simple, but I think, if you let the little things of no shows and no sales kind of hold you down, then you'll feel defeated, and you just really have to kind of forget about it and go forward.
Yeah, I love that. And it just hit me, and this might be a lesson for myself. it's almost like chargebacks are a good thing, and I'm going to tell you why. It just hit me because it keeps you humble. It keeps you understanding that, all right, yeah, I wrote $3 grand, $5 grand, $7 grand, $30 grand in a day, week, or month. I have to just keep it moving and not think that I'm crazy special. Think that, it's just like, what's next? Everything's a what's next. It keeps you humble. And I mean, let's look at a big business, right? If you look at Walmart, if Walmart sold 80% of their items and 20% were brought back, so they kept 80% and 20% brought back stuff, they'd still be Walmart and they'd be crazy, successful, cash flow, the whole deal. Amazon's the same way. We're literally trying to run like that. And if you think about it, we are the Walmart and Amazon of insurance because we're the biggest IMO with the biggest volume. So it's kind of like, you take the good with the bad, and you're always up at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's you just got to keep it moving, and that's what I truly preach to the team too. Is you've heard my ratio in the past. Like if you go like 1 for 8 in the field 4 days a week, you're kind of winning. 4 for 24. It's a terrible number, but if you actually close, consistently weekly, like in and out every single week, helping families, you'll win at the end.
Yeah, and you're getting better because that 4 out of 24, you do that so many weeks, you're going to get just better, and you'll be 5 and 6 and so on and so forth. So now on the side of building, I think you do a very good job in your conversations with agents, lead call strategy. You're very much there for your team. What are some little things that you found in conversations with your agents have helped them kind of take themselves to the next level?
Yeah, I think definitely, focusing on what's really important, which is dialing the phones. There was a ratio, I think a percentage, it said like 85% dialing. I probably think it's like 95% dialing. So 90% dialing, 5% actually showing up and helping the client, getting in your car, getting on a Zoom, whatever it is. And then 5% is product knowledge. But I really focus on dialing the phones, focusing on the rebuttals and different types of rebuttals for different types of lead flow that you have. But that's definitely, where I put majority of my focus. If you don't have appointments, you really don't have anything. So you can know nothing going into a home and you'll be okay.
It's a very good point. Too many people. I just had a guy before I was talking to, and he's talking to me about, hey, I need to know all the products. Just got it going. I'm like, I don't know half of the products. Like I can read. I know where to get the information, but I need appointments. And I think if I look at your appointment count every week, you'll have 30, 33, 35, 37. Like you just focus on that, hence why you have success.
Yeah, because if you think about it, that's why you run a lot of appointments, because it could literally be you or Big Bird walking through, and people are going to buy. There's going to be some people that just buy insurance. When you're new, you also run into more maybes. And when you're new, you don't know how to convert those maybes, or I need to think about it. But as you sit more with more clients, then you get a better feeling on how you could press them a little bit to put in an application and think about it, or whatever it is. Like, at least you get to know if they're approved or not. In the beginning, I used to, I look back at it, I'm like, man, I was terrible. But I look back at it and people would say like, oh yeah, we'll give you a call. You'll call me later or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. Call me later. And I would never hear from them. Whereas now I say, let's just be honest. You're not going to call me, but it's okay. It's your beneficiary that's losing out, not mine. My family's good. So do you want me to leave and you'll never see me again? Or do you want me to sit back down for 10 minutes so we can finish this off? So sometimes I get thrown out. Sometimes they're like, oh, okay, you care. Yeah, okay, let's sit back down. So it's just, and then you're going to have 5 people a week, basically, they're going to tell you no as soon as you open your car door, so it doesn't even matter. But if you run a lot of appointments, you run into more yeses and maybes.
Yeah, I love that. And you run into big sales too, obviously,
Yeah.
So now as you're growing, you have a recruiter, Sheree, she's doing a nice job for you. How does it feel now to have someone helping you, calling resumes, booking people on your calendar, And how has your pipeline looked now in the last, we'll call it, I guess, 2 months of having a recruiter?
Yeah, it's I don't want to say it's a relief, but definitely, it's way more productive than me just trying to do it on the side or on Sundays, which I used to do. Having someone do it 40 plus hours a week is extremely productive. Plus, I also know that, Sheree and I have the same goal in mind, growth, team development, everything like that. We have the same goal, same vision. That's kind of what I kind of instilled with her from the beginning. Like, this is the end game. So this is where we need to get to. Yeah, I mean, it's honestly been great. Just having her on board.
That's awesome. Now, talking about this, integrity effect, integrity factor, we were at that meeting last week, and, such an eye opener as to, what's next and what's there and what's available for everybody. Whether you're here today, whether you just started, or whether you're looking to join, the integrity effect is real, and it's happening. So walk me through a little bit of that meeting and what you took out of it, what it meant to you, and what are some of the things that you feel like you want to do differently now to maybe get you there faster?
Yeah, so I guess starting with the latter part, get there faster. So I think it was immediately right after that meeting, I said, I need to have more staff. I have right now, I guess, there's still too many leads, I guess, that between myself and Sheree, we still have an overflow of leads. So we need to get another recruiter in here sooner than later, so they could reach out to more people, build faster. Definitely, some of the comments by integrity partners, really hit home. How many families can we help? How big of a team can we grow? I like the fact of some of the resources that are available to you once you're an integrity partner that really just accelerate the growth even more. But yeah, no, it was a very direct and say humbling kind of meeting where I could see, I basically put together the whole big picture. I was like, wow, this is where I need to be. And what steps do I have right now? Our team is doing about 100,000 a month. Where do we go to get to, how do we 10 times it quickly? Well, I just need to have more staff so we could call more people to add more people.
It's so interesting. It's like you break it when you really break it down at the end of the day. It's like we write this and we have this many writers. To write this, I need this many writers. I need a couple more staff to get there. And when I get there, if I put a little bit more in now, 10 times the money isn't even, it's like 100 times the money to what you're able to do. How is it when you explain that to your wife?
She was excited about what the possible, outcome could be. But also we're very, very humbled in where we're at and kind of say, like, we don't need this. What we need to have is a balance. And I told her, however my team decides to grow, I'm going to keep my balance. Whereas, I have family life, I have personal production, I have time for my team, I have time for my staff. That's all really important to me, to keep that balance. And if it takes me, a year to get there, great. If it takes me less, great. But even when we get to that point, it won't be like, a sign of relief. It just means, I'm going to be busy doing something else differently, helping, the 10 logos underneath me getting bigger.
Yeah, I'd love that. It's an incredible opportunity for everybody. So now somebody wants to join your team. What's the best way that they can get in contact with either you or Sheree?
Just give us a call. My number directly is 305-803-5528, or you could email me at tierrelife@gmail.com. Yeah.
Perfect. I love it. Now, final thing I'll ask. You've written some policies in some crazy scenarios of like Dick's Sporting Goods and lots of places.
Gas stations.
What's the craziest one?
And behind that, so like sometimes people don't want to meet you at their house, you know, and this was before, I guess, Zoom time or, I don't know. The bait shop, the tackle and bait shop was pretty interesting because I got a tour of like what people do for fishing and bait and all that stuff. I had no idea that was even like a concept, but I don't know, a bait shop or gas stations or the Family Dollar was pretty good. You know, that was a funny one.
The bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, is he will meet you anywhere and he will get you insurance because he knows you need help and everybody needs it no matter where you are. Well, it's great working with you. You inspire me every day. You help me get better every day. You keep me very humble every day because you're a very, very nice person. Very, very nice. Just good to have you in the office and good to just, you know, talk to you and bounce ideas off of you. So I'm very happy to work with you and help you and your family get to whatever levels you want to get to. And I think, you know, we're going to be eyeing some big numbers and, you know, board member and some big things because you are pouring in a lot of people and you're pouring in a lot of your time into those people. And I know the people on your team appreciate it. So it's an honor to work with you. And I just can't wait to see the journey and see where we end up in a year from now. And we'll do another one.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Definitely. It's been a great experience over the last, you know, year. And I'm looking forward to the future for sure.
Love it, man.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for everything. That wraps it for episode 4. We will see you next week. Take care.